Well, good morning, everyone. I will start off by saying Happy Easter. Whatever that means to you, whether it's religious or about the idea of renewal in nature or about chocolate eggs. Happy Easter to all. It's wonderful to see everyone today, and I'm so happy you all are here. So before we get started, I just need to acknowledge two things. One is that we lost a member of our congregation in the last week, Mitch James. And I apologize if this is the first time you're hearing about it, but most of you have probably heard through one means or another. And we will be talking about that at the end of the service about what we can do to support the family. Because I know that's what we do and it's important to acknowledge. And I think our fellowship hour will be the perfect time to talk about that. And I also want to apologize that you all have to look at the stitches on my face this morning. I was going to wear a mask, but I realized it might be hard to hear me, but I got bitten by a dog this week. It's fine, but with apologies, I know it's difficult to look at, so I'll try to stay a little further back from the screen. So with those two things said, again, welcome. I'm Roz Cook, and I'll be leading our program today. And it will be my great pleasure to introduce Kaden Sheffield a little bit later to our Zoom stage. She's been dropping in on our congregation to share her stories and wisdom for many years. And we're so glad that it's really easy with Zoom, that she doesn't have to make a long trip to get here. And I know we will all feel very blessed by her presence. And her topic today is mindfulness, and I'm sure it will feel extremely appropriate when we get to that point. So with that said, I have some very short and simple opening words. You are the sky. Everything else is just the weather. And that is a quote from Pema Chodron, who is personally one of my favorite Buddhists. And she talks a lot about mindfulness. So the next part of our agenda is lighting the chalice. And I had asked my husband, Tom, to do that. And he happily said he would. But then I got in the car yesterday and drove to Tucson, and I forgot to pack him. So he is not here with me. So I will be sharing the chalice lighting. And Paul, if you want to do the visual, that would be great. In the name of the daybreak, and the eyelids of morning, and the wayfaring moon, and the night when it departs, I swear I will not dishonor my soul with hatred, but offer myself humbly as a guardian of nature, as a healer of misery, as a messenger of wonder, as an architect of peace. Those are the words of Diane Ackerman. And now I invite you all to join me in a unison reading of the covenant. I know I'll be the only voice you hear, but I hope you will read right along, because these are sort of the words that bind us together. When we come together, we share these particular beliefs. We all might have other beliefs, which we are allowed to bring, but these are the ones that we have agreed upon. And we make a promise to ourselves and each other when we say them together in church every week. Love is the doctrine of our congregation. The quest for truth is our holy right, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in friendship. Thus do we covenant. Thank you all. So we are moving right along as these Zoom services tend to do, and we've reached our offertory moment. And this is when every week we take up an offering for the church. And I hope this analogy is not offensive to anyone, but I sort of thought about the pleas we make here a little bit like the down and out people you see on the street corners holding up a little sign. We are also looking for money, and I realized some of them might be homeless, and it just sort of made me think, well, without our physical church, we would be homeless too. And the church itself, the buildings and grounds really are our greatest expense. And of course, our circumstances are not so dire. If we were homeless, I know somehow we would still come together as a church. But this is me in this particular moment holding up my little cardboard sign saying, please help and give what you can. It is definitely in support of a worthy cause. And with that said, the absolute truth is it is same for the person on the corner who is looking for a handout. And I hope you give to both if you have the opportunity. So thank you.
The next piece is called Just for Today. I wrote the words and the music to this piece for a service 10 years ago. It talks about living in the day, not worrying about the past or the future, just living today happily. Just for today, I'll cling to one message. All day long, I'll count my blessings. Just for today, I'll share love all around me. All day long, let peace surround me. I'll never worry about tomorrow or dwell upon yesterday's sorrow. Just for today, I'll abandon regret for self and others, forgive and forget. Just for today, give thanks I will give, and in that spirit rejoice and truly live.
Oh, Joe, thank you. What a treat to have an original piece that actually is making its decade-long repeat. Thank you so much for sharing that with us and making the time to sit down and play some music for us. That was wonderful. And without further ado, I bring Kaden Sheffield back to our podium. Kaden, thank you so much for being here with us, and we're excited to have you.
Thank you so much, Roz, and Paul, and everybody. It's so good to see you too, and especially Jim's hat. That's a real treat. I wanted to share with you some thoughts today, and I call them springing into wholeness. So here are my thoughts. And at the end, I would like, if you feel comfortable, to lead us in a little mindfulness meditation that I've learned, and that is also by Pema Chodron. So she's sort of a theme today. Spring always fills us with a feeling of beginning anew, of rebirth and liberation. This seems especially true this year as we start to emerge from the pandemic with its distancing and isolation. Our time alone has taken much, but it has also given us time to reflect upon what's truly important in life, how less is sometimes more, and how to appreciate our lives as we live them. One word for such a state is mindfulness. Today is also the Christian holiday of Easter, the day on which Christians believe Jesus rose from the dead. Many celebrate this day with sunrise services, which is how Northern European pagans once celebrated the spring equinox and its goddess, Eostre, goddess of the dawn. Her name is the origin of our holiday Easter and is cognate with the Greek Eos, meaning dawn, or the Middle Eastern Astarte, meaning star, or Asherah, and the Egyptian Isis. Little is known about Eostre, but she must have been important to be so widespread, and especially so in Northern Europe, for the Germanic languages have kept her name for this holiday, Easter in English and Ostern in German, while all of the Romance languages use some form of Pasqua, which is taken from the Hebrew for Passover, Pesach, which means he passed over. This is another spring holiday of liberation, and both Easter and Passover owe much to the far older Zoroastrian New Year holiday, Nowruz, celebrated in Persia, modern-day Iran. Farther east are more spring holidays. The Cherry Blossom Festival in Japan, the Lunar New Year celebrated throughout the Far East, and the Purnava, or Buddha's birthday. All these holidays tend to focus upon the dawn and the spring, with flowers, eggs, chicks, rabbits, and lambs as symbols. We feel a new dawn, a new day, a new year rising within us and in the world, and we rejoice. Which brings me back to our topic of mindfulness. For just as at the heart of all spring holidays is new beginnings, at the heart of all forms of spirituality is mindfulness. It has been practiced in different ways everywhere throughout history, from Eastern meditation to the centering prayer of Christianity, to the whirling dervish dances of the Sufis and the contemplation of Torah verses in Judaism. All these ancient methods share one goal, spiritual enlightenment. Today it seems that we hear everywhere about mindfulness, claiming its material benefits to help sleep disorders, lower blood pressure, curb bad habits, and boost our creativity. There are apps like Calm and Headspace that advertise on TV, and thousands of sites and articles on the internet. So what is mindfulness and what's it for? Is it a road to spiritual enlightenment, a way to relax the body, a means to awaken the mind? Well, yes, to all three. But it is more than that. It is a way of mending the divisions between body, mind, and spirit that we in the West have accepted since Descartes created Cartesian dualism with his famous cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. Mindfulness is a way to spring into wholeness. A concise definition of mindfulness is the capacity to be fully present in each moment. Those of us of a certain generation may remember this as be here now. Mindfulness asks us to begin by focusing our attention on the here, the physical, on our body, specifically on our breath, to feel the cool air entering our body, the opening of the lungs, the warm air returning to the outside world. Then it asks us to observe the now, to notice whatever comes up moment to moment, sounds, sights, sensations, as well as emotional feelings and thoughts. Finally, it asks us to simply be, to do all these things without judgment, without trying to control our breath, body, or thoughts. Just be. Notice what comes up with serenity and acceptance. as if you were watching clouds roll by. Let each one go on its way without attaching positive or negative judgments to it. Just let your body and mind go free. It doesn't sound like much, but like all great things that sound simple, its effects are profound. For as we practice, we will find that like the dawn, like the spring, the effects will go beyond the physical and mental into the emotional and spiritual. We begin to perceive and to think and feel differently, better, more aware, more at peace. Mindfulness can spring us into wholeness within ourselves and into harmony with the universe, what some might call a form of spiritual enlightenment. Scientists tell us this is because our nervous systems have both sympathetic nerves, fight or flight reflexes that evolved for survival, but which can cause chronic stress and disease, and parasympathetic nerves, a neural braking system which slows us down after the danger has passed. Both systems need to be in balance for optimal physical, mental, and emotional health. Scientists tend to remain silent about that spiritual realm. The master nerve of these systems is the vagus nerve, meaning the wanderer, because it begins in the brain and then literally wanders into all of our major organs, including the heart, lungs, and GI tract. This is the nerve that links physical sensations to thoughts and emotions. They call this inner awareness interoception and rank it as a sense equal with sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch, and proprioception. We all have it. Mindfulness engages the vagus nerve and through it balances our sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. A pretty neat trick from just sitting and breathing in the here and now, huh? But I think its greatest gift is its practice of non-judgment, of just being. For by just being, we learn not to judge ourselves harshly, and then find we tend to judge others less harshly too. We find that compassion for self and others comes more easily to us with practice. It doesn't happen immediately in a blinding flash, but rather gradually and gently, like the coming of the dawn or the opening of a new spring flower, as our spring holidays symbolize, each in their own way. But talking about mindfulness can't tell you as much as experiencing it yourself. So I'd like to end my reflection today with a short mindfulness meditation called the Compassion Meditation. I invite each of you to get comfortable where you are. Lower your gaze or close your eyes and just breathe in and out normally. Don't try to change anything about your breathing. Just breathe in and out. As you do, notice how it feels to breathe, how the air feels going in through your nose, into your lungs, how your body expands to receive it, how your body knows when to release the air, how it feels as it passes out of your body back into the atmosphere. Reflect upon how there is no separation between you and your breath, between your breath and the world, how all is connected. Good. Now continue breathing as I describe the next phase. We will take 3 breaths together, and as we exhale, make these 3 wishes for the world. First, may all be well. And on the second breath, may all be happy. And on the third, may all be at peace. As we do so, we will remember that each one of us is part of the all that we are blessing. There is no separation. All right, let's take our first breath together. In. May all be well. Now let's take our second breath. May all be happy. And our third breath. May all be at peace. Now, as you are ready, slowly open your eyes. Notice how you feel physically, emotionally, and spiritually. May you take these good feelings with you. Thank you for participating. Blessed spring, everyone.
Oh, thank you so much, Kaden. I sort of have to really energize myself after that. That left me feeling very calm and peaceful. That really worked. Thank you for sharing with us this morning. And I hope it left everyone else in a good place too. So, on our agenda next is the Unison reading of our mission statement. So please join me as it appears on the screen. We agree to provide a safe place to celebrate diversity, draw inspiration for living better lives, foster social and environmental justice, and compassionately support each other in our spiritual searches. And you'll have to use your imagination here. Picture me or Paul extinguishing the chalice that was lit earlier. And along with it, here are our closing words. We extinguish this chalice, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.